Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Psycho, and I've got another Walking Dead video for you all today. This one is going to be some pretty big controversial news that was recently released by Laurie Holden. And I'm just going to warn you guys, this might turn into a rant video, and I find that coincidental considering just yesterday I did a video over John Carpenter, and I asked if you guys wanted to see more rant type videos. A lot of you said you wanted to see that, and coincidentally this article just popped up on the Google News feed. Now, this wasn't an article that I planned on talking about when I was talking in the John Carpenter video, but I guess it works out for all of us here. I'm just going to try and inform you all of all of this news and what she said, and then later on I'm going to give my opinion at the end of the video, so you could just stick around for the news part, but if you want to hear my opinion as well, stay tuned for the whole video. The article that I'm talking about was by fanfest.com, and it's titled, Laurie Holden had an 8-year deal on The Walking Dead. Andrea was supposed to end up with Rick. It then goes on to state, Laurie Holden attended Walker Stalker Convention in New Jersey this weekend, where she and Jeffrey DeMunn, who played badass Andrea and lovable level-headed Dale on the show respectively, took the stage for a panel. The discussion was juicy and no holds were barred with the two actors, who were with the hit show from the very beginning. Holden revealed to the audience that she signed on with an 8-year contract when she joined the baby series The Walking Dead. Her character, Andrea, only made it to the finale of Season 3. Laurie Holden states, well, I had an 8-year deal. I was supposed to be there until the end. I was supposed to end up with Rick. I was supposed to save Woodbury on a horse, and I was buying a house in Atlanta. I got the call at 10 o'clock the night before while I was shooting from the showrunner, who is no longer a part of The Walking Dead, saying that he couldn't write the episode and that he was killing my character. So we all got the script, everybody on the set was sobbing. I felt like I got shot. None of it was supposed to happen the way it did. The article then goes on to state, the two discuss Frank Darabont handpicking the original cast and crew, and how the beginning stages of the show were simply magical. The show famously switched gears dramatically when Frank Darabont was removed as the showrunner. Although the show continued to be successful, many people behind the scenes were unhappy about the change, especially because he was the reason many of those involved put their hearts into the project. DeMunn, Holden, and Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, had previously worked with Darabont. Laurie Holden then says this, he, talking about Frank Darabont, called me up and said I'm doing the show The Walking Dead. I trusted it because it was Frank. He handpicked me and Dale and Carol, pretty much everybody. He picked everybody. What I loved about the collaboration is that nobody had any egos. There's a lot of heart in our show. There's a lot of love, and I think people feel it. Holden went on to say, I think The Walking Dead is in a really good place now with Scott Gimple. It wasn't the ship that it is now. I'm very grateful how it was written that I went out with grace and with a stellar cast. It wasn't the way that I wanted, but I love the way that I went out. There were also some tweets in this article accompanied with what she said, and it's just basically some things that she said on Twitter from the Walker Stalker Con account. They quoted her, and one of them said, I lived Andrea. We had the same heart, remembers Laurie Holden. Another one says, being on The Walking Dead was the time of my life. That show and these people are imprinted on my soul. Jeffrey DeMunn, who played Dale, also said, I'm in touch with so many members of that cast. I may see Stephen Young next week. Jeffrey DeMunn's character Dale exited the show by choice around the same time. The two described how his acting when Dale died perfectly expressed his genuine emotions and frustrations about where the show was at the time, the turmoil that it was in when Frank Darabont was removed from the show. That's basically all the article had to state, but I found this was pretty big news for me. A lot of us were left dissatisfied with Andrea's death. I wasn't even doing YouTube back then, and I hadn't even been reading the Walking Dead comics. But now that I'm more familiar with the comics, it just kind of angers me to see a terrible last-minute decision on a writer that didn't really know what he was doing. I'm really happy Glenn Mazzara left. I think Robert Kirkman was one of the people that decided to push him out because he was straying too far away from the comics, and big props to Robert Kirkman on locking down the show. At least he's not letting everyone run loose and ruin the show, and people like Glenn Mazzara, could have definitely been the downfall of this show if he was to continue on. Like I said, these are just my opinions, but when you sign an 8-year deal with an actor or actress, you hold to your word because they're making all of these extra moves like buying a house where you're filming. They're making big life-changing decisions just so they can honor that code and honor their word that they're going to stay with your show for 8 years. It seems like that would be something illegal if you just say you're getting killed off after they sign an 8-year contract, but what I'm guessing is I bet it had something to do with Frank Darabont initially hiring her, and then that contract may becoming void since he was kicked off the show. I find it extremely distasteful kicking someone off the show after signing a contract in which the contract hasn't ended yet. I just think that's pretty effed up. Now, if their acting was absolutely terrible and I felt like they were bringing down the character and the show, I could definitely see why that would happen. I just think a lot of people really didn't like Laurie Holden because of the way she was written. I don't think her acting was bad. I felt like if they would have written her in the right direction, a lot of people would have loved her character a lot more. Now, please take into consideration that I haven't seen Season 2 and 3 in forever, so it's been a long time and I can't remember everything perfectly, but I feel like everyone would have loved her character a whole lot more if she hadn't gone to the governor's side. I just want to say that if you're a writer and you're starting filming and you have no idea how an episode is going to play out, you don't know where the whole season is going to end up in that climax that you have no idea about, you're a person that should not be in that position to lead a series. And just think about that. They were filming and about to film the finale, and then the writer gets up in the middle of the night, makes a split-second decision and says, we're going to turn this whole story into a different direction, and the story hasn't even been making sense to build up to this part yet, but screw the story, let's just do this for shock factor. That's just a writer that doesn't know what he's doing, and someone that really needs to figure out where they want to take this show, instead of just executing on something they randomly chose in the middle of the night. I just think it's messed up that you do this to an actor or actress. She thought she was in for the long run, and you need to give her even more props considering Frank Darabont left. Some of the other actors left with him willingly because they didn't want to be with the show after he left, but Laurie Holden gave the show the benefit of the doubt. So considering after she honored her word, Glenn Mazzara decides to not honor his and then screw her over. And also, just to touch on the Frank Darabont thing just a little bit, I don't know if you guys want to see another video where I talk about the Frank Darabont situation. That will most likely turn into a rant video, but I'm just going to touch on it for a little second here, just for a brief moment. I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about the Frank Darabont situation, but I feel like I just have to say this. Frank Darabont, without a doubt, pretty much got screwed over. And I feel like this is something as a YouTuber for The Walking Dead I shouldn't talk about, but I just have to be honest with you guys. No matter whatever you feel about Frank Darabont, he got all of these actors and actresses for the cast together and put together this show to start it off into what it is now. Just imagine if we didn't have Andrew Lincoln playing Rick Grimes, if we didn't have Norman Reedus playing Daryl Dixon, or Daryl Dixon at all, considering it was his choice to create that character. Imagine if we didn't have a Carol played by Melissa McBride. Think about that, because if we were led under Glen Mazzara from the initial starting point, we might have had actors or actresses that really didn't fulfill that position. Andrew Lincoln is the best option, I think, that could have been placed for that character. I don't really know the whole situation with Frank Darabont. Some people say that he helped out with Season 2, some people say that he didn't. I'm pretty sure there's a big lawsuit with that. I read an article a while back. I don't know if he won or not, or even if it's still going on. But basically what happened is I think the head of AMC was trying to cut the budget, yet add more episodes for Season 2. He was either trying to cut the budget or keep it the same. But anyways, if you're doubling the episode count and then adding one more episode on that to get 13 episodes, and if you want to decrease the budget or keep it the same, that just does not make sense considering it was getting more viewers. There was more viewers being added on, and they weren't trying to improve the budget whatsoever. That just doesn't make sense from a creative standpoint. As you can see from Season 2, there was a lot of filler and a lot of people were unhappy with that season, and I think the reason some people were unhappy is the contribution from that budget. I still think there's some budget issues that are going on with The Walking Dead. I'm not even sure if it has increased yet. I just honestly think that is being cheap right there. Anyways, we'll leave that for another video. I basically just wanted to discuss a whole lot of controversial things going on right here. Frank Darabont was a good guy, I think. He always cared for the actors. He always talked about how hard they worked. He said the actors and actresses would work out in the blazing summer heat while all of the people at AMC would come out of their air-conditioned offices for one time every few days and then go back to their offices. He was just a guy that was compassionate about the people that were putting a lot of heart and effort into the show. That's pretty much all I wanted to say today. I really don't want it to seem like I'm attacking AMC, but I had to be honest with you guys there. That's the only way we can have this relationship. From a person that posts Walking Dead videos and interacts with all of you all, if I'm not honest, then what's the point of the videos? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Also, please make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. I cannot express that enough. It always helps me out an absolute ton and shows that you guys do enjoy these types of videos. Thank you all once again. Peace out.